Stop chasing her and watch how her world shifts. When you pull away after being in pursuit for so long, she'll experience a whirlwind of emotions, ranging from curiosity to nostalgia. It's a powerful move that can change the dynamic between you. Curious about what she really feels? Let's dive in. When you stop chasing a woman, something remarkable happens. You disrupt the status quo. She's used to your attention, your presence, and the dynamic that's been built over time. But when that constant flow of interest suddenly dries up, it sends ripples through her emotions that she never saw coming. And it's in this moment that she goes through a series of emotional phases, each one revealing more about her feelings toward you than you might have realized. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what happens in a woman's mind and heart when you stop chasing her, focusing on the three major phases she experiences. The first phase that she enters is shock, curiosity, and confusion. When you've been pursuing someone for a long time, she gets used to the idea of you being there. You become a part of her daily reality, and that's not necessarily a bad thing in her eyes. Even if she hasn't fully reciprocated your feelings, even if she's been somewhat indifferent, she knows that you're there, and it gives her a sense of security, a feeling of control, knowing that someone is always looking at her, admiring her, wanting to be closer to her. Now, when you stop all of a sudden, she's gonna notice. This isn't something that will fly under the radar. The moment you stop sending that good morning text, the moment you stop calling her or making plans, she'll feel it. At first, there's a sense of shock. It's like you've pulled the rug out from under her. She might not even believe it at first. Maybe she thinks you're just busy. Maybe she's telling herself that you'll come back in a few days. But that initial shock quickly gives way to something more intense: curiosity. She begins to ask herself questions. Why did he stop? What happened? Did I do something wrong? Is he seeing someone else? This is where the curiosity really kicks in, because she needs to understand what caused this shift. It's no longer about you just disappearing. It's about her trying to piece together the puzzle. Her mind races with possibilities. Maybe you've moved on. Maybe you're tired of waiting. Maybe, just maybe, she miscalculated the situation, and now she's starting to realize that you weren't just another guy chasing her. You were someone important. This curiosity can drive her to take action. She might check your social media, trying to figure out if something has changed in your life. Has there been a new woman popping up in your posts or comments? Have you been going out more, living your life in ways that she wasn't aware of? Social media becomes her investigative tool. But that's not all. Sometimes, curiosity will push her to reach out directly. She might send you a casual text, something along the lines of, "Hey, how have you been?" Or, "It's been a while. What's up?" It seems innocent enough, but what she's really doing is checking to see if she still holds any sway over you. She wants to know if you're still within her grasp, or if you've truly slipped away. And this brings us to a critical moment: your response. If you respond the same way you always have, eager, enthusiastic, maybe even relieved that she's reaching out, she'll feel reassured. Her curiosity will be satisfied, and she'll likely fall back into the same patterns, knowing that you're still there, ready to chase her. But if you remain distant, cool, or even indifferent, that's when the real emotional upheaval begins for her. She moves into the second phase: ego hit and rejection. Now, this is where things get interesting. When a woman has grown accustomed to being pursued, especially over a long period of time, she begins to take it for granted. It's not that she doesn't appreciate the attention. On some level, she probably does, but it becomes part of her routine. She expects it. And when that expectation isn't met, it's not just confusing, it's bruising to her ego. She starts to feel rejected, and rejection is one of the most uncomfortable emotions a person can experience. It's not just about you no longer being around. It's about the fact that she thought she had you wrapped around her finger, and now you're slipping through her grasp. Her ego takes a hit. She wonders, was I not good enough? Did I misread everything? And here's the thing, she might not have even wanted to be with you, but knowing that you were always there gave her a sense of power and control. When that's taken away, she's left feeling vulnerable. This vulnerability can manifest in a few different ways. Some women will get angry. They'll react defensively, thinking, well, if he doesn't want me, I don't need him either. They'll try to convince themselves that your absence doesn't matter, that they're fine without you. But deep down, that sting of rejection lingers. Other women will go in the opposite direction. Instead of getting angry, they'll become determined. Determined to get you back, to regain that validation that they've lost. You see, at this stage, it's no longer about love or attraction. It's about ego. It's about proving to herself that she can still have you if she wants. She needs to know that she hasn't lost her appeal, that you're still there waiting in the wings, ready to come back at the slightest hint of interest from her. This can lead her to make stronger moves toward you. Maybe she'll be more flirtatious, maybe she'll suggest hanging out again, maybe she'll even apologize for things that happened in the past. But understand this, it's not genuine. It's not coming from a place of wanting to build something real with you. It's coming from a place of insecurity and a need to soothe her wounded ego. This is where you need to be careful. If you fall back into the same pattern, chasing after her the moment she shows interest, you're only feeding her ego. You're giving her exactly what she wants. And once she feels secure again, she's likely to revert to her old ways. But if you stay firm, if you maintain your distance and don't give her that validation, she'll be forced to confront her own feelings. And this leads us into the third and final phase, nostalgia and emotional longing. After the initial shock and ego-driven reactions have faded, she'll start to reflect on the relationship or connection you two shared. This is when nostalgia starts to creep in. She'll remember the good times, the conversations, the laughter, the moments that made her feel special. She'll begin to miss those things, and here's the key. She won't just miss the attention you gave her, she'll start to miss you as a person. Nostalgia is a powerful emotion because it filters out the negative and amplifies the positive. She'll start thinking about what could have been, about the potential you had together. She might even begin to regret not taking things more seriously when she had the chance. It's during this phase that her feelings toward you become more genuine. It's no longer about ego or validation. It's about the real connection she feels she's lost. At this point, she may reach out again, but this time it's different. It's not a casual check-in or a game to see if you're still interested. This time, she's coming from a place of emotional longing. She misses the bond you shared, and she's starting to realize that maybe, just maybe, she let something good slip away. This is when her interest becomes real, when she starts to consider whether she wants to rekindle the relationship in a meaningful way. But here's where you need to be especially cautious. Just because she's feeling nostalgic doesn't mean that her intentions are pure. Nostalgia can be tricky. It can make people idealize the past, remembering only the good and forgetting the reasons things didn't work out in the first place. So when she comes back to you during this phase, you need to assess her motives carefully. Is she genuinely interested in building something real, or is she just looking to relive a fleeting moment of emotional comfort? If you decide to engage with her at this point, you need to set clear boundaries and communicate openly about what you want. Don't fall back into the same patterns that led to the situation in the first place. If she's truly interested in you, she'll be willing to put in the effort to make things work. But if she's just chasing a memory, you'll quickly see that her interest fades as soon as she gets what she wants. In this final phase, the power dynamic has shifted. You're no longer the one chasing her. Now she's the one trying to win you back. But the key here is to remain grounded and confident. Don't let nostalgia cloud your judgment, and don't be afraid to walk away if you feel that her interest isn't genuine. At the end of the day, you deserve someone who values you for who you are, not for the validation you provide. So what's the takeaway from all this? When you stop chasing a woman, you set off a chain reaction of emotions: shock, curiosity, ego, rejection, and eventually nostalgia. Each phase reveals more about how she truly feels about you, and if you handle it right, you can shift the dynamic in your favor. But remember, the goal isn't to play games or manipulate her emotions. The goal is to find someone who genuinely wants to be with you, someone who values you as much as you value them. If you've stopped chasing a woman and you're wondering what's going on in her mind, this is it. She's going through these phases, whether she realizes it or not. And as she navigates these emotions, You have the power to decide how you want to respond. Stay confident, stay true to yourself, and never settle for anything less than what you deserve. This process isn't about getting her back. It's about reclaiming your power and understanding that your value doesn't come from her attention. It comes from within. When you stop chasing, you give her the opportunity to see what she's been missing, and in that moment, the dynamic shifts in ways you never expected.